What's up, my precious little pack, and welcome back to VEGA Conflict. This is going to be a little bit of a goodbye to the sector video, because as we know, most sectors are closing, but the top winning sectors. Good memories and bad memories from this very, very tiny and vicious place. I remember being a low level back in the day and just getting run over multiple times by bigger, tougher fleets. But good times as well, meeting new people, running a clan, bringing people in, slowly recruiting people and stuff that started recently. Just changing stuff around, just in generally having a good time. Good times are still gonna come, but in less droves, because one thing I do remember from when I was playing back when I had first started, when I'd played for about 8 weeks, and I stopped playing for about a year, I remember starting my first event, and I remember when the sector had enough people that there were very few targets in-game. I do remember that. I remember sitting around, I didn't go out and wait by the hole like everybody else, around the wormholes, around the spawns, or anything like that. I would just sit and wait, and I'd pick up the scraps. It was a very slow and tedious process, but it was still progress, nonetheless. And I don't know what's going to come in the Reckoning event, but all I do know is we're all going to be clustered together in fairly tight packs, depending on where we're at. But it's going to be an interesting thing, to say the least. It's going to be an entertaining time, to say the least. I'm not going to deny that it's going to be a bit brutal, and for low levels who have never partaken in PvP, or if you have, either way, it's going to be an interesting thing to see everyone gathered together. And it occurred to me that sector wars used to be a thing, where sectors would just go to war, and I don't think that even now, even though we're all going to be clustered up together, I still don't think that there's going to be enough people allied against one another to do large sector wars, but it doesn't mean we can't do mini wars. And I look at my sector here. I'm over here by this little ball of death. Home planet 4104. Sector 4100. This will be gone very soon. But here's something that I do hope is fixed. I hope that by them closing so many sectors and condensing the player base, that we get a better quality connection, because they're closing down a lot of stuff, so the main focus is going to be clustered together and stuff like that, but most of the computing power that has to go out to individually set up and have each of these maneuver out through each sector is scattered. So right now, sectors have to have individual computing powers to be able to do individual things. So say if I attack this, that's going to take up X number of computing power. I hope that all the power gets put into the 3 sectors and it gets improved upon, because I still know that people get disconnected from fights from time to time, and I haven't been disconnected in a very long time now. I'm actually quite surprised. And I'm more or less, during the duration of this, before I get transferred to another sector, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to wait for the end of my sector. I'm going to wait for the downtime. I'm going to sit around, I'm going to farm my butt off, I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm just going to sit around and have a good time. But I'm also going to start building up lower level fleets to use in the other sectors, because once I get transferred, I know I'm going to be shoulder and shoulder, and I'm going to have to use tactics I used before. And one thing I used to use decoy fleets. Whenever I'd be going out to play out in the sector or do something like that, I would send out multiple fleets. One fleet would be the main fleet that I'd be using to farm, and I'd send out several decoy fleets that were low repair time, low damage, but around the same level as the actual fleet that would go out. The fleet may have only consisted of 5 ships, but each ship was armed to the teeth. Whereas the decoys, in this case, were not armed to the teeth, or even armored for that matter. Their job was just to distract the enemy to have them look away. It's time that I start doing teaching videos, but I'm also going to have to do progression videos because on the 11th of this month, we're going to be stepping into the new age of VEGA conflict and the new daily setup for the micro events, or the Planet Strike, Sector Strike, and Other Strike, the Alien Strike. But we're also going to be having crafting material runs and stuff like that, so I'm going to show, after I hit them and I get myself down pat for how to destroy them, I'm going to step down a tier, I'm going to step up a tier, I'm going to play each tier as I can to show how to advance. So there's going to be a lot of content after the 11th and onwards as I progress through the game and make videos a little bit more carefully for everybody. But I'm also going to begin majorly recruiting into the clan, and this video is... I can't say that there won't be PvP, because as it remains right now, I can't say that I don't partake in PvP, because I do defend my own fleets. Specifically, I used my secondary fleet, and the reason that my secondary fleet is 4 levels below my main fleet is because I use it to attack people that try to attack the main fleet. Except for I never go in directly to attack. I know I could, and I could probably take out a few battleships, because that's what most people use, and they think that they're untouchable. You keep your ships turned in one direction, you have to split them up, you have to keep an eye on them. The reason I use cruisers is because they can take a beating before they go down. They can also deal a beating when they get up close and personal with ships that don't have armor. They're very useful, and they're very strong, and they're very tough. Then again, so are frigates, and so is the new Pegasus. And I'm not going to classify this video as anything other than just, I'm going to be saying goodbye to my sector, except for this will be part 1 to it. Part 2 will be tomorrow. But for now, what I'm going to talk about is, as I've been saying, I also want to take a look at some other stuff. Something I realized before, I had a very small amount of Blood Amber storage before, and something I realized, I have had the Bridge 7, it was only about, what, 300 Blood Amber that I could store. It's 600, and I never even realized it changed. That's how blind I am to that. And I'm going to be getting into PvP, but as such, I want to be able to play in PvP fights and stuff like that, so I'm going to take a look at stuff in here and whatnot, and I already have ships for fitting and everything like that. I just haven't started them yet. This thing, I'm not going to touch with a 10-foot pole, because as it stands right now, it has no major benefit. It does have, well actually, it does have the benefit of having a lower repair time than its counterpart. But I need to fully fill it out, so I don't have much in terms of... I just don't have much in terms of PvP content. That will change, because I'll be playing with the PvP ships in PvP, and I'll be using them to defend my fleet, actually. And this is something else that I realized. Mixed fleets are a very good thing in the game. They're also very important. But carefully mixing the Marauder faction with the Axis faction could yield positive or negative results, depending on what you use. I would build an escort fleet consistent of a mixture of Marauder and Axis tech. The Marauders specifically to counter the Axis, because the Marauders deal a damage type that's unblockable anything but other Marauders. While the Axis can block everything because they're a standard PvE fleet setup. So I'd have to play test it and play around with it, but it will be interesting and it will be fun. And when we all get clustered together, it's either going to make or break the game. We're going to have, a lot of people are going to have to learn to be more savvy and stuff like that, and you have to keep your eyes open. I'm already paranoid, because, I mean, I used to go out in Sector, I'd get jumped left and right by people that were much, much higher level than me. You know, it wouldn't be a fair fight, because I would have this ship, they would have something that is just outright overpowered compared to mine, and I would just lose my fleet. And I mean, at some points, I would just give up, I'd just log out of the fight, and I'd just wait to take the repair time, and I'd just log off. And then I started paying very close attention to everything that's going on. Typically, as I said with the decoys, I used to send out decoys. Here's what I would do. I would take fleets of similar levels, and I would send them out in different directions. You know, I'd zoom out all the way, and I'd just scatter them. And each one would actually have a target, so when they get to their destination, they would actually attack something. So they were a decoy, but they were also a way of gaining resources, because when they were going out, the enemy would have to choose what one do they want to attack. Do they want to attack that fleet that's going over there, or do they want to attack the higher level fleet that's going over here? What's that one doing? Where's that one going? Stuff like that. A simple tactic is just confusion. Confuse your enemy, because every player has access to 7 fleets. Each fleet has access to 6 ships. In grand total, you can have command of a small army of ships alone, and in turn can command them. And something that is very easy to do when you're playing in the game, if you're in heavy combat, if it's one-on-one, you're both fighting with all 7 of your fleets and you're not autoing, you could always do the tactic of jumping. This is what I refer to as just logging between attacks. So if I were to attack multiple players or multiple AI fleets, every single one of these would go into combat. But I would get notifications over here, as well as in the fight, that say join this combat, stuff like that. That's how you jump through combat. You rapidly change and you move your ships around, you set them up the way you want, and you maneuver them. But you have to be quick on the draw to be able to control them, as to keep from dying. And I'll be showing that off in the future, because I expect PvP to be a heavy part of the future of what I do. But not as heavy as my PvE. I'm still going to power through it. No matter what comes out, and no matter how hard it gets, I'm still going to power through it, because I want to help everybody advance. I can't just say that I'm going to do PvP now, this is what I do. That's not what I do. I've come from PvP games, and the reason that I don't do PvP is because I find it a bit lacking in some respects, especially when games become more strategy games become fitting games. Whoever has the best fitting wins, no matter what your skill level. Well, there are certain aspects of the game that you can manipulate and you can use to your advantage. I'm not going to talk about them yet. I'll make separate videos about them. But I have been around, and I may not play around much, and people may not see me in the sectors much, but that doesn't mean that I'm not watching you. You can see whenever I'm paying attention up in the top corner, as people have seen before, but you can also... You can't really tell when I'm watching out here in the sector. I may watch a fleet go out, and I may eyeball it, and I may watch what it hits, and if it catches my interest, so if it's hitting something around my level, it may be around my level. I may look in just to see the fight go on, to see what the fleet type is, stuff like that. And there's something I finished watching before I started this recording. I finished watching the Battle Vortex live stream for the VEGA conflict. Very well done, guys. I have to give you props on it. Something you guys brought up in it, though, that I didn't even think about was gifting. We shouldn't be allowed to gift any ships or anything like that. We should be allowed to gift resources and gold, though, because it was brought up that he had to log into someone else's account to be able to give him gold and stuff like that. I had trade and stuff like that, account info. That shouldn't have to be done. We should have a gift button or something. I know War Commander has one, because you can gift oil and gold in War Commander, if I'm not mistaken. Last thing I knew, you could. But we need something like that in VEGA, because, I mean, I can store more than enough to give to my entire clan, which is mostly consistent of lower-level players, and I could easily give them, on my own, more than enough resources to advance into... I could easily give them enough to field entire fleets of whatever they want. They just have to deal with the build time. But the gifting should be something that we receive in the game. It would be a large, crucial part in taking a step forwards in the game. And don't make it so that it's like War Commander's gifting, where you send... In the resources where it sends X number, make it so we can choose what we send. So if I want to, say, trade any in-game currency, just make it so we can trade any of this. Do I want to trade helium-3, mineral ore, antimatter? Make it so we can do that. Make it so we can give each other resources. Do we want to trade blood amber or gold? Make it so we can trade them too. Make it so that... Make it an open market. Make it so if people want to hoard blood amber, for times in PvP where they can start scattering it out and giving certain people advantages that could yield beneficial to their own personal vendetta, then let them. It's time that you start giving the limited player base that you have left a little bit more power in the marketable aspect. But don't make it so that you have to pay gold to trade, because if people want to trade gold to get gold, they're going to have to use gold. No, that shouldn't be how it is. And relating to the stuff that I heard them talking about in the forums being changed around to the in-game notifications, you mean this garbage right here? You already have a news feed in the game of what's new. And if you intend on improving upon that, good luck with that. Because most of the time you guys are so slow. We already have the prize list and stuff before you even post on the forum, because you failed to give CM Chris a list to post or anything like that in time, so he has to wait or anything like that. And just putting it in the development team's hands in-game means they'll be able to put out the information faster, but then what's CM Chris gonna do? Because he is the community manager. And I don't even know if he has an in-game account, to be honest. But I want to see changes in the game. I want... Kixai, you clearly want money. Or you want to see the game die. Or you want both. And for the people who think that I'm unaware the game is dying, I'm very well aware it's dying. I just refuse to talk about it because all of you are talking about it. I have no reason to cover it because all of you already know about it. I do coverage of things that I find or think could be interesting aspects of the game. That's the reason I make new idea videos and stuff like that. I do it just because it could be interesting to talk about, not that it could ever happen. You guys could easily take the ideas I list from the forums and start pushing them on the forums, or you could start pushing them in-game. How do you push content in-game, though? Easy. Talk about it right in here. Talk about it here. Talk about it here. Talk about it in clan. Talk about it through messages. Talk about it anywhere. And there's going to be a lot of stuff I'm going to be doing in the future for the game until it either dies or goes into caretaker mode, which is what people refer to as when the game just dies and there's still a limited player base, but people do play it still in a minimal way. I'll be doing videos on it and stuff like that, and I'll continue to play it until the sectors and stuff completely close out and the game closes down. We can no longer log in, we can no longer play it, it no longer becomes official game or anything like that. But until then, I'll continue making content on it, and I'll continue making videos on new content, stuff like that. But now we're getting into the nitty-gritty, and they want to cluster everyone up to play the game of the Alliance Wars, which I can already say that they're going to fail there. I'm not going to say why now, because I'm going to wait until the Alliance War starts, and I'm going to let you all see how it's going to fail. You're all going to see exactly what I mean. You'll all understand. And I'm not talking about from experience from this game. I've played many games over my time, and it's so hard to explain it. So hard to explain it, and so hard to point out the biggest flaws of games, as well as the biggest strong points of games. Each game should try and be unique, and they shouldn't try and be a copy of another. VEGA has something good going under the respect that it's gotten, under the aspect it's played and stuff like that. I can't say that the game isn't bad, but I can't say it's not good either. Because I can play the game for hours on end just because it's what I do. But I also can't say that the game won't suck in some other aspect. And the way that the forum will be run, and the few people that they do talk to, I'm not going to discredit you guys because you're the few people that get to talk to the development team. You're the few people that get to discuss certain things with them. I'm not going to do anything like that, but you're cutting off the rest of the community's voice by going to the in-game system and making it less community and less forum-based. You're just cutting out a huge section, which will in turn hurt your own company even more, for one thing. Another thing is you're going to have more and more people that are... I don't know how to put it gently for you guys. I'm trying to be as quiet and nice as I can. I'll just leave it like this. I'll talk about it in other videos. That's what I'll do. Talk about it in separate videos in separate ways. And tomorrow, along with the part 2 to the sector closing and me saying goodbye to my home sector and being moved to someplace else, I'll also get started with other fittings, stuff like that, potential fitting guides, stuff that could be beneficial to low levels. I'll start playing around a little bit more. I might get involved in the dying game. I'm late to the party, but I mean, I'm never early to any party, so it's no surprise. But I'm gonna quit chatting your ears off and stuff like that, and this isn't a recommendation video or anything like that. It's just a random ideas, random chat type thing. It's just a video that I'm gonna upload. I'm gonna put a name to it that isn't listed as a prize recommendation or anything like that. It's just the chat. And with that said, everybody, if you have anything to say so below in the comments. You're always welcome to talk here. I'm not going to silence you guys. I'm not going to tell you to shut up. I'm not going to delete your comments unless they're snide, they're vicious towards other people, they're not useful or anything like that. If you just want to talk, say hi, stuff like that, go ahead and say that below. I'm not going to stop you from doing that. If you like the videos, you know what to do. I don't have to keep reminding you. If you guys do enjoy seeing content like this, if you like seeing different content on the channel and stuff like that, let me know. I'm here most of the time, and it's time I start picking it up a bit more. And I can't say I'm not a high-tier player because I'm slowly building everything out, and something I'm looking forward to is the 2 alien strikes a week. They only last for 1 day, but depending on the points payout of each ship, and Kixeye, you will have to modify them, because the difficulty of them now compared to how they are, free players will not be able to advance unless they destroy their fleets over and over, and they have hundreds of ships to go through, and they just keep breaking them more and more and more and more, and take years of repair time in 1 day. It won't work. And I'll talk about more as time progresses, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end the video here. Let me hear your thoughts below, everybody, in the comments section, stuff like that. Do you have any potential ideas? Do you have any ideas for a clan? And I'm opening, if you want to join the clan, send a request. Here's the clan's name, the tag, everything like that. If you want to join, I will approve you. You don't have to wait. I'm going to approve everybody, even if you're a PvPer now. We're all going to be clustered in together, so we might as well stick together. So if you're someone who doesn't have a clan, or if you're looking for a clan, I've got open arms to let you in. I'm not going to say no to you. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm slowly gathering up coalitions already as it stands. I'm making allies. I haven't made any enemies yet. I've kept the clan as a neutral stance towards most, except for planetary allies. People that are in the planetary, I mark them so the clan knows not to beat them up. Not to cause trouble, because they're a friend. They're an ally. It's going to change, and the game's going to become very interesting, or it's going to die very quickly. Let's hope it takes the latter and becomes very interesting, because I want to see the game start to turn around, do a 360, start to progress, and Kixeye needs to see this as well. They can make plenty of money off the game, but only if they start listening to the player base. And I'm going to start opening and start letting you all into the clan, so feel free. And this will change. I'm going to change this around. I'm going to change it up. And I'm going to start setting up rules and stuff like that, because these rules no longer apply, because we will be doing PvP, PvE. We'll be doing everything. We're going to be working as a clan. We're going to be working as a team. We're going to be a family in the game. We're going to be watching over each other. We're going to be watching each other's backs. We're going to be scratching each other's backs. We're going to be kicking each other in the butt. But hopefully we're going to be having a good time. But I truly will accept anyone's request to join the clan, But know this, that there will be limited numbers of certain things being given around. Captain's permits, they can't just be willy-nilly handed out, and the reason everyone already has one is because my clan's so limited. I could easily take the first 15 requests and give one to everybody. I could make people officers or members. Everyone already is a member. And the only officer of mine is inactive because the game became so bad. So actually, something I should fix. I need to change that around. I need to start getting... I need to make it so I have recruiters for PvE and PvE. I need to set stuff up. I'll make a separate clan recruitment video. This is just a few things I'm going to mention. And I've let this run on long enough. I'm going to end it here. If you guys like the video, you know what to do. If you have any ideas, say so below and make sure that you're heard below. Don't just sit idly by. Let me know if you want to see more stuff like this on the channel, stuff like that. It's things like this that interest me in doing more often, but I don't know if you guys want to see it. And with that, I would just like to say thank you for any and all support over every video I've ever made. Thank you for the views, thank you for this, thank you for that. And as always, everybody, I'll see y'all later.